I would like to, good morning, my name is Rush Hill, and I'm chairman of the, whatever we call this committee, Governmental Affairs, and, what was that, Stephen? Wake Up Newport this morning. Thank you. Oh, it's May even, my God. This is great. I am glad that you're here. I think we have an exciting morning, and my first duty is to introduce you to the mayor of Newport Beach. The mayor of Newport Beach was a close vote. He won 1-0, and we're not sure if it was his mother or his sister or his own, but the amazing part about it is he didn't get the other two, whoever it was. So, but anyway, I give you our mayor of Newport to do our introductions this morning.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you. I appreciate the promotion. Actually, I'm not the mayor of Newport. I am the mayor of the business community, though. That's what he meant to say. Was the mayor in 2007, former mayor. But anyway, I'm here. Welcome this morning to Wake Up Newport. I'm Steve Rosansky, president and CEO of the Newport Beach Chamber of Commerce. I just want to quickly introduce some of our dignitaries with us this morning. So I'm going to kick off with our councilwoman and former mayor, Diane Dixon. Yeah. Newly elected councilman, well, not so new anymore, Jeff Herdman. Our tallest councilman, Scott Piotr, in the back. And you just met, actually, Rush is a former mayor himself, for those of you who don't know. We served together on the city council, so Rush Hill. Okay, you can clap for Rush. Sure. He doesn't deserve it, but you can clap for him. Couldn't even remember the name of the meeting. He is the chair of the Government Affairs Committee. I think that's what threw him off a little bit. We also have, I found out this morning, someone recently promoted over the city. We have Rob Houston, Deputy City Manager now. Congratulations, Rob. He was the assistant to the city manager before, is that right? Assistant, now that's a huge promotion. Someone I haven't seen here too often, but I'm glad he joined us this morning, Planning Commissioner and Chair of the Planning Commission, Corey Kramer. Corey, back there. And Paul Blank, Harbor Commissioner. Paul let us use his boat for the boat parade. He was the Santa boat for 5 nights, and he's actually a pretty good seamstress because he sewed up Santa when he blew a hole in him. We also have, I think that's all the dignitary. Who are you pointing at? Oh, Chief Lewis skated in at the last minute. Okay. We have, I think, the whole senior staff here at this point, right? Okay. Just for us. We need a lot of protection here. Crazy, wild residents here that might get out of hand. So now I just want to invite up Dee Dee. Dee Dee, where are you? Dee Dee. She's with the Credit Union of Southern California, and they are our sponsor of our series.
Thank you and good morning. Credit Union of Southern California has a branch office upstairs here in the library right across from the cafe. If there's any financial services that you're looking for, please come and see us. We have all of these right here. Thank you.
I feel like that lady on the the game show. They're doing or gentleman. I guess it could be a gentleman. It doesn't have to be a lady. Okay, and now I want to invite up Hannah Beek. She's with the Dunes Resort and the Back Bay Bistro. They provided the quiche this morning. She's going to tell us quickly about what they got going on over there.
Thank you, and good morning. I'm Hannah, like you said, with the Back Bay Bistro, serving the quiche. I also work in the sales office of the Newport Dunes, which the bistro is located at, and I sell events for corporations or private or nonprofit organizations. So if you're ever looking to plan a company picnic or any sort of get-together, I have a business card in the back, and I'd love to talk to you about some things I can offer. Also, some events we have coming up, just really quickly. This Saturday, we have Stand Up for the Cure by Susan G. Komen. May 19th, High Times has partnered with us, and we're actually doing a wine trade show. Tickets are still available on their website. And Memorial Day weekend, we're doing a country festival called Boots on the Beach and a beer festival. So our website has all this information, or you can come talk to me at the end of the event. I'd love to give you some more info. Thanks for your time.
You wouldn't know it by how good looking she is, but she's with the Beek family, the owners of the ferry and the fuel dock and founding family here in Newport Beach. So if you know Dave Beek and Seymour Beek, they're all related. Aren't they doing the Russo and Steele car auction in June or something? June. So for you guys that are car enthusiasts, Russo and Steele car auction is coming as well. So that's all I have for now. I'm going to turn it back over to Rush. She's going to introduce our speaker. Thank you.
Well, this morning we're honored to have our Director of Community Development with us, Kim Brandt. And we'll hear about what's going on in Mariner's Mile and the trolley coming on the peninsula and the vacation rentals that takes place in our community. A little bit about the tenure of Kim since she's been here with us since 2011. We stole her from the city of Costa Mesa. It was one of our great takes during that era. And she has put together a team of individuals that really has turned Newport Beach into an extremely friendly environment to come in and get a permit and go through planning and build something. She was involved in creating the Design Review Committee, where within a couple of weeks you can come in after applying. It's free, and have your project reviewed and looked at by every discipline in the city that needs to look at a project. It eliminates surprises down the road. When you come in to pull a permit, they assign someone that helps you through the process, that works with all the departments and that type of thing. Newport Beach has clearly become one of the environments through our community development department that is building friendly and helps you. The joke we always used to say is, if you're going to get a no, you get it early in the process, so you don't spend a lot of money and waste your time. And we do all that without relaxing a single code and enforcing the highest of standards that we have as we become a best practice city. So we're very pleased to have Kim with us this morning. She is a certified professional. That's like me being a certified idiot, but she carries that high degree, and so please give a Newport Beach welcome to Kim Brandt.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here, and I normally am in your seat, and so it's a little bit of a difference to be standing up here, but it is certainly a pleasure to be here, and I am very proud of what has gone on in the Community Development Department, and I have a lot of my very esteemed staff with me who are the ones who are carrying the heavy load, and I have Brenda Wineski, the Deputy Director, Simone Georges, the Assistant Director. The two of them shoulder both planning and building and are responsible for keeping everything running while I just run around, I think, sometimes. I just so you know that, as Rush indicated, the Community Development Department is responsible for planning and for building, and as you are operating your businesses, it's always important before you lease a property to go into for a new business that you check with the city to make sure that the proper zoning is in place. If you're going to be doing improvements, make sure that your contractor is checking and getting the proper permits. We are here to make your life easier, and although we like to believe that we're a very welcoming place, I don't think most people really want to spend a lot of time in City Hall. So we are here to help your businesses run smoothly as possible, and if you have any questions, we are here to help you. And just a few tidbits about what's going on in case you haven't noticed around town. Currently, we have 2,350 active building permits in the community, in case you haven't noticed as you're trying to navigate through some of the residential streets, because the majority of our permits are actually residential, whether it be remodels or complete demolitions. And the valuation of those permits in terms of building permit valuation is, all right, Simone, $765 million that's currently being invested in your community right now. So those are all good things, and meaning that things are well in the city of Newport Beach. So we have been busy the past year doing various programs, and I want to highlight three activities that are going to be a little bit more prominent this summer. The first is a planning effort that's been underway since last year for the Mariners Mile. I want to give you an update in terms of vacation rentals in the city, how the city is making sure that they're properly regulated and being operated in compliance with code. And also, we have something fun coming. We have a trolley coming this summer, so I want to give you some highlights on that. So with that, it's summertime. May Gray has arrived. So Mariners Mile Master Plan. We started this master plan process last year, and it was the last of 6 revitalization projects that the City Council back in 2011 initiated, and I do believe that Rush Hill and Steve Rosansky were on the council at that time, and they identified 6 revitalization areas, and we started from the get-go as soon as I entered or started my position with 5 of the 6 revitalization areas, and Mariners Mile was the last to be accomplished. So we've started that endeavor, and Mariners Mile, I think most of you would recognize, goes from Dover all the way to Newport Boulevard, almost from bridge to bridge in some respects. And although it is Mariners Mile, it is a little bit longer than a mile, but nobody's checking, I think, too often. So Mariners Mile is on both sides of the street, and it really encompasses the commercial areas and some of the residential. When the general plan was reviewed and finally updated in 2006, the majority of the area was designated for mixed use, and the mixed use designation is that funny tan pinky color on the screen, and the red areas are areas that are intended to be for commercial, and then we do, and the light lavender is public facilities. Oh, and that works. So this is the Coast College and Seabase area, and this area right here is the city's parking lot in the back. So the general plan, when it was adopted in 2006, had some great ideas for the area. They recognized at that time even that it needed to be enhanced and reach its full potential for both residents and visitors and for what's going on in the water. There was an identification of a village core, harbor frontage, and a commercial corridor. Pedestrian connections are extremely important. What's on the harbor is extremely important. We want it to be visitor serving, resident serving, but also it's Mariners Mile. There's a lot of marine related activities that occur in that area. And we wanted to emphasize the need for public docks and dining, and that boardwalk, a continuous boardwalk on the harbor area. And it enhanced view corridors, not only from Coast Highway as you're driving along, but from the residential neighborhoods above as they're looking across Mariners Mile. And this has been a topic of getting a lot of discussion, but through this plan effort, we've been talking about the ultimate design configuration of West Coast Highway. Our general plan currently shows its ultimate configuration as 6 lanes, which currently it's 4 lanes in most of that area, and that is a master plan designation that's already in the city's general plan. And this design plan that we're putting together is not intended to focus on the actual width of Coast Highway, but rather that would come up later when the city again looks at its general plan. So again, this master plan is looking at design solutions for some of the areas within Mariners Mile. Building, siting, and massing are very important. Again, we're looking at view corridors and how well it's articulated. We don't want solid masses along Coast Highway creating a corridor, closed-in feel from the car. And we're also looking at parking management strategies. Mariners Mile is no different than anywhere else in the city. It's all about parking, parking, parking. How do we park our vehicles? Until one day that Uber and Lyft are in other similar places. And I'm looking at our young folks over there and how you are going to operate and run your lives and your businesses are so different than how my generation is, and I'm excited about what you are going to be doing, because I can't even think about sometimes or anticipate how we plan our cities and communities based on technology, but things will be changing. So the master plan looks at our opportunity areas. This area here is the village core. This is from generally from Riverside over to what we always say the extension of Irvine Avenue. Can we create a village core here? We're also looking at the inland side as you go east of the Rocky Point or the Pelican Wall in terms of what could be done in here. It's a much different area. It's auto-oriented. And so we saw those as real opportunities to create change. And of course, the harbor frontage is something that's everyone's really wants to see a continuous frontage walkway through here. So again, the village core, when we were looking at the village core, we really understood and see Coast Highway as something that shouldn't be the focus of the village core. And so on the inland side of the property, the focus through this study has been Avon Street. We feel that this is an area where buildings can be reoriented to. We can create pedestrian linkages through here, public outdoor open space areas, and really create the ability for someone to come down from the Heights area, come through the village in a walking area, and we're looking at possibly doing some pedestrian overpasses over Coast Highway to get people to the harbor frontage so that they never have to cross Coast Highway at a street level, and so that you would have a continuous linkage from the Heights area all the way to the water. And this is just an example of what it could look like. And again, the harbor frontage is probably the most challenging area. We don't have a continuous pedestrian boardwalk. We don't have necessarily the best streetscape and this from Coast Highway. And this is an example of what a parking lot may look like as we're trying to encourage people to get to the harbor area through some designing. We still have a parking lot, but we can create some pedestrian corridors to get you to the harbor. And again, these are all conceptual ideas. The master plan doesn't have distinct plans for any particular parcel. And so looking in terms of how you can circulate along the harbor, we recognize that as individual property owners come in, it comes over sometimes in incremental stages. And so there might be opportunities where we will be weaving a little bit, going from the water to Coast Highway and then back to the water. And the plan includes different ways of providing the boardwalk extension. This is an example that is out there today where here's the water, here's the boardwalk, and there's a building up above. There might be opportunities where we can cantilever the boardwalk over the water, or even have a second story linkage. And if we were to have a pedestrian overcrossing of Coast Highway, perhaps we can have a second story harbor linkage that ties into that. Again, these are concepts. As we get further east on the property, getting close in the plan area closer to Dover, the depth of the parcels are very challenging. They're narrow. We've got a bluff right behind them. So we toyed with, well, what can we do here? People come to this area by car, probably more limited opportunities for pedestrian linkages. So the plan is looking at parcel consolidations, or massing of the buildings that could provide those linkages and a much better streetscape from Coast Highway. So where are we in the process? We released a draft plan in April, April 11th, and it's on our website. And we are encouraging people to look at the plan and provide us with written comments. We've had one Planning Commission meeting, a study session, and we anticipate going back to the Planning Commission in either June or July to discuss the draft plan. And these are an opportunity for you as in the public to be engaged in that process. We expect that we'll be going on to City Council in either August or September. And so before I move on to the next topic, were there any questions about the plan?
The pedestrian walkway on the waterfront, would it be room enough for bicycle use as well, or just pedestrians, or do you have an idea yet?
I think at this point, we've been looking at pedestrian, with the width of the walkway would be anywhere from 6 to 8 feet. Again, it's a very constrained area. I don't really see it as an active bicycle area. Brenda, did we talk about that at all in terms of bike opportunities?
The idea is that the walkway would connect with an outdoor dining area as well, so it would not be conducive for biking. But the plan for Coast Highway is to have a more designated bike route on Coast Highway. So no, the boardwalk's not going to be biking.
Well, just to add on to that, I especially was interested in the overcrossing concept because I'm a teacher at Newport Harbor High School, and as an educator, our students cross Coast Highway on their bicycles to get to school every day. Lots of citizens cross Coast Highway
Right.
to get to the beach. And I think that that would be an incredibly positive addition to the city to allow the bicycles to cross over with pedestrians.
Right, and that would be the intent of the overcrossing. It's just, well, with all the schools in the Heights area and also the junior guard program, we know that that is a heavily traveled route for students and young people, and we're concerned about their safety as well. Yes.
Yes. When do you start on West Newport?
In terms of the West Newport and the landscaping project at the entry,
West Newport, it looks like it's a little rundown area.
right, so that was also one of our revitalization areas, and we had a citizens advisory panel review that area and come up with a landscaping plan that would enhance the median and the some of the parkway areas. The city council is going to be looking at funding a portion of that in the next year budget as part of the capital improvement program. So that is something that we've got the plan in place, and now it's just a matter of funding it.
One more question. Are you ever going to do high-rise parking structures?
So how would you define high-rise? More than two?
Maybe 3 stories?
Maybe 3 stories. So this plan does look at the potential for a parking structure on the city's lot here in the back off of Avon. And so that would be a multiple structure parking, multiple level parking structure. And the top we are envisioning could even be a park. So it would provide a connection to the park up above, and then you could just come down and have a park element, but it would include multiple levels of parking.
What's your limits for how high can it be?
So we have the shoreline height limits in the city in this area, and it's 35 feet, so that would be the highest.
3 stories then?
Unless they go underground. There's always an opportunity to go underwater. Underground. Yeah. Craig, yes, Craig.
If you expand Coast Highway to 6 lanes, then there'd be no on-street parking from bridge to bridge?
So I don't have that information with me, but the ultimate configuration calls for the bike lanes and for sidewalks and bike lanes and medians, but the on-street parking would not be part of that cross section. Yes.
Does the plan have to go before the coastal commission at some point?
It doesn't require a coastal development permit because it doesn't contemplate development. It's a plan, but as each element of the plan goes forward, it would require a coastal development permit. And the city now has the authority to issue coastal development permits in a great area, much of the city. We cannot issue coastal development permits on the water, but we can do it on the land side. So that's a very good thing. Okay. All right. This is a fun subject, my next one. Let me just skip ahead. Short-term vacation rentals. I don't know how many of you participated in the numerous community workshops that we had last year on this subject. We had a lot of interest in what was going on in terms of how the city was regulating short-term rentals, because with the internet explosion of Airbnb and HomeAway and VRBO, all of a sudden we had short-term rentals popping up all over the place, and the question was, are these permitted? Are they paying their appropriate taxes? What's going on? So we had quite an effort last year looking at short-term rentals. Just really quickly, the city has in certain areas a history of vacation rentals, particularly on the peninsula, on Balboa Island. And back in the 1990s, the city actually adopted regulations for short-term rentals and requires them to get a permit, requires them to have a business license, and thirdly, requires them to pay transient occupancy tax, which is called the bed tax or TOT. And so we've been doing that since 1992, and back in 2004, the city at that time decided to prohibit any permits in the R1 single-family zones, but allowed the existing 212 homes that already had short-term rentals to continue, so they were grandfathered in. So again, there are city requirements. You have to be in the right location, and you have to get a permit and pay your taxes. And it's important to note that if there's a CC&R that affects the property, that the CC&Rs need to be checked to make sure there isn't any prohibition from a vacation rental. And a vacation rental is 30 days or less. So where are short-term rentals allowed in the city? So Dan Campanolo, sitting over here, who our department cannot live without, honestly, it helped devise this map. And the gold colors are where short-term vacation rentals can be allowed in the city, and those little cute purple dots are the 212 grandfathered properties. So those areas are R1 properties, but they have a grandfathered status, so they can have a short-term rental. But you can see it includes all of Balboa Island, Corona del Mar, and the peninsula area, as well as other neighborhoods scattered throughout the city. So this is a graphic that shows where, how many permits are on Balboa Island. So the little, so the little green icons shows that there is a permit on the property. And this information is available on the city's website. You can go and just search in the search box, put in short-term vacation rentals, and it will lead you to the city's webpage and to this interactive map. So if you, as a resident, you're not sure what's going on in your neighborhood and you're not sure that they have a permit, you can go to the city's website and see. Or if you're interested in having a short-term rental at your own property, you can check very, very quickly to see whether it would even be allowed. So as I indicated, with the popularity of Airbnb and other related internet host platforms, we've had a lot of illegal permit activity, or no permits activity occurring within the city, and it was a big concern. And so when we were looking at our regulations last year and talking to the city council about maybe we should adopt some additional regulations, the message that they gave back to us, well, let's first enforce the codes that we have on our books, make sure everybody has a permit and get everything under control, and then we'll see whether or not it's appropriate to change our regulations. So working with finance, and Monique is here, as well as the police department, we've looked at different ways of improving our code enforcement efforts, and we just recently hired a company called Host Compliance, and they are going to be able to review all the online listings and then provide us a data set back to us of what they feel are questionable listings, and we'll be getting those on a weekly basis, and then we'll be working with our code enforcement teams, my staff as well as finance, to identify whether or not these properties, one, can have a permit, and if they could, then they have to get a permit and then start complying with all the other cities' regulations. So it just began last month, and we've gotten our first weekly report, and there are a few hundred that are questionable that we are following up on. So we're excited that we have that information. I know that there's been some news recently that San Francisco and Airbnb have come to some sort of a settlement agreement, whereas that Airbnb is now going to be providing a list of the hosts to the city of San Francisco of who is advertising in San Francisco, so San Francisco can check to make sure those people have the proper permits. We're hoping that that will be something that will translate to other communities, but in the meantime, we are just being active in terms of using host compliance to identify and combing all internet listing sites, because they are popping up really quickly. It's just not Airbnb anymore. I was going through, and there's all kinds of different companies, and so you have to balance, are we going to try to chase each company down and come to some agreement, or are we going to do it through code enforcement, or is it going to be a combination of both? So more to come on that. But again, you can go onto the city's website and you can see whether or not a property can have a short-term rental on it. And if you see something, we would appreciate a call if you see something that you feel is questionable. So any questions about short-term rentals before I go on to the trolley? Oh, Diane Dixon.
Thank you, Kim, for all of the work that you and your staff of residential homeowner not have a permit, but they're not even in a permitted area.
Right. So I don't have familiar with the details of the settlement agreement, only what I read, but it was my understanding they're just turning over their list to San Francisco, and then San Francisco is responsible for the code enforcement aspect of it. And you can understand possibly why Airbnb would be reluctant to turn over a list to a city, because it could mean that there's illegal listings which we would close down, which would affect their overall volume, I guess, in terms of what the money that they are taking in. But I think that we've had this discussion a lot with finance, and we just want them to have a permit. We have the capabilities of collecting the TOT or bed tax. We have over 1,200 active legal permits in the city right now. We just want to know where they're at. We can collect the TOT. We don't want somebody else giving us numbers that we can't validate, and it becomes complicated. So I hope that helps answer your question, but it's still an evolving situation.
I saw in the LA Times that Mayor Garceau, visitors to our community.
Okay, I'm so glad Monique's here. We were playing with these numbers just a couple weeks ago, and I know that it wasn't about 2 million that we're taking in each year from the legal short-term rentals that we know about. Last year's code enforcement efforts, and this was before we had host compliance on board, we went after the ones that were illegal, and I think we brought in close to $500,000, correct, in terms of collecting unpaid TOT. So what we do is if you have if a person is using their property in an area that they can't have a short-term rental, and they've been doing it, let's say a couple of years, and we find out about it, we come back, we require all the TOT from those 2 years to be paid. So we're collecting in that respect. So it is a significant part of the TOT that comes in, and was it 10% of the total? Total 10%, the 2 million. So it's a significant part of the city's revenue. And it's also a question of a level playing field. The hotels and the motels, they have to pay the TOT and be in a properly zoned area and have all the proper permits. And so it's only right that the short-term rentals are complying with the city's regulations as well.
Steve, do you have any idea on what the indirect economic impact is? It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
The city lives on tourism. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, speaking of tourism, something fun. It's coming. Yay. Yay. And Brenda's been very, very involved in this, but we have a summer trolley program coming, and it also came out from a citizens advisory group, the Balboa Village Advisory Committee, which before was the Balboa Village Citizens Advisory Panel. So there's been a long effort to see improvement in Balboa Village, and one of them is the trolley program, and it's starting this summer. It's being funded through a grant from the Orange County Transportation Agency for alternative transportation, and we're just starting our pilot program this summer, June 17th. Am I saying that correctly? Yes. Saturday. It's going to be on Saturday and Sundays through this summer, as well as on the 4th of July, which is a Tuesday this year. And there's going to be 10 stops along the peninsula. The Hogue lower parking lot, we have an agreement for about 40 parking spaces, and there are 4 trolleys that will be running between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. I was close. 7:30 with 15-minute headways, and this is the route and the stops. And most of the stops are existing bus stops, and you're going to see this very cool sign. And we see it not only a way for our visitors to get around on the peninsula, but also for people who live there. Again, it's all about parking. And once you park your car, you don't want to lose your parking space. And so it'll give people the opportunity, let's say they're down in more the Peninsula Point area, they can get up to Lido Marina Village without having to take a car, and it's free. So again, it'll be 12 summer weekends, 15-minute headways, and there's a really cool website that we're working on right now. It's peninsulatrolley.com, and it's live now, but since the trolleys aren't running, you won't be able to see the little trolleys moving along the map. It'll be similar to Uber or to Lyft, where you can see where the trolley is in relationship to where you are and the timing. So we think that's really fun, and we're excited about that. We're almost, we're starting to sound like we know what we're doing technology-wise. So it's a really exciting program. And again, it's a pilot program, and we'll be counting to see how many people will be using it. The branding is going back to the old red car from the historic days when there was a trolley or actually it was a real train, that there were train tracks that went all the way down to the Balboa Pavilion, and for some reason they went away, and now we're reestablishing it. So this is the branding with a tribute back to the original days, and I think it'll help see it on the peninsula, and I'm hoping that it'll be something fun and that everybody will enjoy it, and it will help people get around the peninsula. And you can even get over to Balboa Island when you think about it. You back and forth. You can use the ferry to get across, and you can really extend some visiting through that area. Peter?
Yes, how many trolleys initially?
4. And they're not, this first year, they're not true trolleys. I know, but they will be a trolley if it's successful. It's a van. It's going to have a shrink wrap on it with this branding. This is what this will look like. But we really would like it to be more of a trolley. Laguna has more of a trolley look, and if this program's successful, then hopefully maybe we can get something more open air, right, much more cool. But we think it'll still be a great program this year. Yes. Absolutely. This isn't one of those party buses.
It needs to be stated up front of the peninsula.
Excellent points, and those are the things that we've been addressing, but these are not intended to be the party buses. They're just public transportation, and no open containers, and again, that's what we have police for. So, but we're hoping that it'll provide that circulation opportunities. Anything else? I know we're getting short in time. Yes.
Has there ever been consideration of using the Civic Center parking lot on the weekends and possibly linking a trolley to that space there?
Yes, we have been talking about that for the Corona Del Mar area in terms of how to best get people through that business district and get them to parking. And those are some of the things that we're going to be looking at in the next few months. So, and I know the Corona Del Mar bid has been active in it, and we just were talking to them about that. So those are again, it's all about parking and getting people around. Yes, ma'am.
Are there going to be any restrictions or guidelines on how much gear someone can bring on the trolley? Surfboard, cooler, beach chair, umbrella, people come with a tremendous amount of luggage.
Right. So I think we'll just, this is a pilot program, and we'll look at it and see if it's a problem. We do want it to be used by beach visitors, but so I don't think we have anything right now, but it's something that we'll be keeping in mind. There will be lessons to be learned. Okay.
Shuttles will have, like, you get on a Hertz bus where you put your luggage as you get on
in the back. Yeah. Okay.
All right, one final question. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I think you have a good overview now of the complexity, number one, of our community development department, but most importantly, the success of our community development department. So Kim, thank you, and all of you on the staff here. Great job. Keep it up. All right, it's my great pleasure of bringing back our business mayor, Steve Rosansky. Actually, I have to.
Okay, you got it right, so we'll let you come back next time. So just to finish up quickly, I forgot to introduce the FBLA students from Corona Del Mar High School. Thank you for coming. Corona Del Mar High School. They're all in AP class exams for college credit this week, so I'm glad you guys can make it out. We do have a few other exciting programs coming up. I'll just quickly run. I'm sorry? Oh, is DECA here too? Okay, DECA too. That's true. I see your DECA shirt. Thank you for sharing it. Actually, how did your thing go? Your DECA? They had a big, was it a national convention over in Anaheim? Yeah.
We ended up getting 900 volunteers.
900, wow.
To judge events, and of course, they always put on an amazing.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, DECA and FBLA are business programs over at Corona Del Mar and Harbor High School where they teach students about how to be successful in business. Thank you. Thanks for coming. So quickly, we have a bunch of great programs coming up. So first off, next Tuesday, May 9th, we have our next meeting of our Inspire group for women. It's going to be at the Pacific Club. Our speaker is Christy Lewis. She's going to be talking about 10 legal and tax planning tips for growing your business. It's been a great series of talks and meetings over there at the Pacific Club. So any of you women that are looking for information and good networking opportunities, certainly you want to check that out. Men are allowed to, but the focus is for women in business. The next day is another one of our newer groups. Navigate is going to be meeting at Balboa Bay Resort on May 10th from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. The focus of that discussion, well, it's a sort of a mixer, but it's interactive kind of a thing. We're going to be talking about buying your first home. Is it, possible for someone in the 30 to 40 range to buy a home here in Southern California and Orange County especially, what it would take to finance a home. So that's going to be, I think, a very interesting discussion for those of you who are looking at, first-time home buyers, in that under 40 age group. Following week, May 17th, we're going to have our monthly business luncheon. Christy Matola is going to be our speaker. She's going to be talking about give you speaking tips from the pros. So, and making power presentations. That's going to be at the Bahia Corinthian Yacht Club from 11:30 to 1:30. So hopefully you can join us for that. Our next Government Affairs Committee meeting, which Mr. former Mayor Rush Hill does head up, will be on Thursday, May 18th. We have that at the Dunes Resort. Alberto Sandoval will be our speaker. He's from UCI, and he's going to tell us about all the great things that they're doing over there. Our mixer this month is at Sherman Gardens on Thursday, May 25th. Please join us for that. That's from 5:30 to 7:30 at Sherman Gardens. It's free for chamber members. And if you're not a chamber member, talk to Jim Villers back there. He can get you on the guest list, and it'll be free for you as well. God, we got so much stuff going on. Our next Wake Up Newport meeting is June 1st, so the first day of June. We're going to have the mayor of Costa Mesa, Katrina Foley. So she was a councilwoman for a number of years and then left and was on the school board. Now she's back to Costa Mesa, and they've really changed the dynamic there on the city council as the majority has changed, and they're kind of rolling back some of the things that the previous councils have done there. Our next big event is that same evening, June 1st, Athletic Awards Dinner. We just had a very successful Scholarship Awards Dinner, and we honored the top 35 students from Corona Del Mar, Harbor, and Sage Hill. And so the Athletic Awards Dinner is a similar event, but there we're going to recognize the top 35 athletes from those schools. So you're welcome to join us for that. Our Marine Committee meets on June 6th. That's always the second Tuesday of the, or I'm sorry, the first Tuesday of the month. We meet over at the Marina Park. And that's from 5 to 6 p.m. And last but not least, the same day on June 6th is our Connect Luncheon. It's a business luncheon. 10 people have lunch together and do some intensive networking. All of these events can be found on our website at newportbeach.com. Thank you for coming. Have a great rest of the week and an enjoyable weekend, and we'll see you next month at Wake Up Newport. Thank you.